All right, let's dive into something that on the surface makes absolutely no sense in the financial world, the stock split. We're going to figure out why people get so excited when a super valuable stock suddenly seems to be worth just a fraction of its price. Let's get into it. I mean, really think about this for a second. You own a stock, it's flying high at $1,200 a share. Then, overnight, the company decides, hey, let's make this a $120 stock instead. And the market cheers? It just feels wrong, right? Why would anyone celebrate that? You know, the best way to wrap your head around this whole thing is with a really simple and kind of perfect analogy. A stock split, it's just like cutting a pizza. You can cut it into 8 slices or 16 slices. You'll have more pieces to hold, for sure, but you absolutely do not have more pizza. Keep that picture in your mind, because it is the key to everything we're about to talk about. Okay, so let's break down how this pizza slicing actually works. What's really going on behind the scenes when a company decides to split its stock. We're going to use a super recent, real-world example here, the tech giant NVIDIA. So before their big split in June of 2024, you might have owned one single share, and that one share was worth a cool $1,200. Then, NVIDIA announced they were doing a 10-for-1 split. Now, that ratio, 10-for-1, that's basically the instruction manual. It just means that for every single share you owned before, the company's going to hand you 10 new shares to replace it. And here's the magic. After the split, you look in your account and that one share is gone. But in its place, you've now got 10 shares. At the same time, though, the price of each of those shares got divided by 10 too, bringing it down to about $120. And this right here is the golden rule of stock splits. Let's do the quick math. 10 shares times $120 a pop equals, yep, $1,200. So, and this is the most important part, the total value of your investment hasn't changed one single cent. The company's value is the same. Nothing fundamental has changed at all. Now, what we've just been talking about is a forward split, which is the common one you hear about. But, there's an opposite version called a reverse split. That's where a company bundles its shares together to make the price go up. They usually do this when the stock price is really low, and they're trying to avoid getting kicked off an exchange. So, yeah, it's generally not seen as the same kind of good news that a forward split is. So, if a split is really just cosmetic surgery for a stock price, why do these huge, successful companies even do it? Well, let's take a look at the official reasons they usually give. Well, from the company's point of view, it actually makes a lot of sense. For one, a lower share price just feels more affordable, which can attract a lot more everyday investors. That, in turn, boosts something called liquidity, which just means it's easier to buy and sell the stock. It's also a huge signal of confidence from the top brass, kind of like them saying, we fully expect the price to grow from here. And let's be honest, it gets them a ton of free press. Okay, but this brings us right back to our original puzzle. If we're just rearranging the pizza slices, why does study after study show that when a split is announced, the stock price tends to jump, on average, somewhere between 2 and 4%? The company's books are identical, but people's behavior totally changes. What's going on? To get to the real answer, we have to look past the spreadsheets and dive into the messy, fascinating world of behavioral finance. We've got to talk about the psychology of price. The big idea here is something called the nominal price illusion. It's a powerful little glitch in our brains. We have this tendency to focus on the face value of money, the nominal price, instead of what it's actually worth. So a $120 share just feels cheaper. It feels like a better deal than a $1,200 share, even if they represent the exact same slice of the company pie. And this illusion gets supercharged by a few other mental shortcuts we all take. There's anchoring bias, where our brain gets stuck on that old $1,200 price, which makes the new price seem like a steal. All the news coverage creates availability bias. Suddenly, the stock is everywhere and top of mind. We also fall for the representative heuristic. We see great companies like Apple and NVIDIA do splits, so we start to think the split itself is a sign of a great company. And finally, there's a kind of lottery ticket effect. Owning 10 shares just feels like it has more potential to hit it big than owning one, even if the total value is the same. All right, so we've got the mechanics, we've got the psychology. So what's the bottom line? What should you, as an investor, actually take away from all this? Let's just cut right to the chase. When you hear about a stock split, should you think of it as a good thing or a bad thing? And the real answer is, it's neither. It's really just a neutral event. On the one hand, yeah, it's a great signal that the company has been successful and that management is confident. That's a pro. But on the other hand, And this is the con. It adds absolutely $0 of real value to the business itself. The excitement can be temporary, and sometimes that lower price brings in more speculative trading, which can make the stock jump around a bit more. Oh, and one last very practical thing you should definitely know. Here in the US, a stock split is not a taxable event. So you get your new shares, your cost basis gets adjusted automatically, and you don't owe Uncle Sam anything for it. Simple as that. When you really look at it, a stock split is just a perfect example of how fascinating and sometimes how irrational the market can be. It really makes you wonder, right? Where does the real value of a company come from? Is it all in the numbers, the profits, the products, or is our own psychology, our collective perception of a price, just as powerful a force? Definitely something to think about.